It's like the stuff you were proud of didn't interest them. It was the things that you weren't so proud
That's
of.
exactly
That ended up making
brought
a big
me
difference.
like shame and guilt. What I felt like was shame and guilt.
Yeah.
That's what
relate
resonated
to
with
that.
people. That's what people needed.
Absolutely.
I began to realize that it was all a testimony,
Yes.
you know, for God and who God is and who He's been in my life.
Welcome to Generations. Hey Ashley, how are you?
What's up? I'm great. Mom, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad you all are joining us. I am again excited. You know, I'm excited about all of our episodes because really we take our time to think about what we want to say and present to these wonderful people who take out time to watch us, and we always want to do shows that will make a difference in their lives. And today we're focusing on single motherhood, a group of people who really deserves awards.
Yes,
need
all
to
the
be
medals,
acknowledged
all
more.
The awards, the plaques.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Being a mother and raising children is no small thing. It's not easy. And I know I'm married and I've got my family around, and all the time I'm like, I don't know how single mothers do it. Like, that's a thought that has come to me a lot since becoming a mom. So we definitely want to take out the time to encourage such a large group of people that are out there, and a large number of our viewers who are single mothers. And we just know you guys are going to be encouraged by this episode.
Yes. And we want to remind them that God is with them. I'm sure you already know, because the things that they accomplish, you can't do it on your own.
Couldn't do it alone.
You can't do it on your own. But to know that we just want to remind you that God loves you and that you're not forgotten, and He will give you the strength that you need. I think a lot of single mothers sometimes feel, you know, because they can't be the mother and the dad.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
And it's a beautiful thing to know that God promised He would be a father to the fatherless, and also that God will send people into your life, a support system.
Yes.
Pray if you don't have a good support system. Begin to pray for one.
Yeah.
You know, because that's just so important. God will bring men into your lives, women into your lives that will really help you bear the load, because we all need help. I don't care where you are in life. Like you said, you have your husband and all of us around you, and so we all. Village. Yeah, it takes a village. It takes a village to raise a child. And I'm always encouraged too. You know, even when I think about my parents, a lot of people think the Winans came from such a perfect situation. You know, but my mom. Came from a divorced parents, and at a very young age, and then my dad was just raised by his mom. She was never married to his dad, but they came together and decided they would serve the Lord. They would do it God's way. And before Dad, you know, your granddad went on to be with the Lord, they were married over 50 years. You know, and so. When I went, one time I was in a ministry class, Ashley, and one of my assignments was to go and talk to my parents about our family tree, you know, and I found out so many things about them, and I was just like,
you didn't know,
how did we end up in church, and how did all of us end up on the right path? And it just showed me the difference that Jesus makes.
Yeah, and that's such a good point. It doesn't matter how your situation starts out or what it looks like right now. Just ask the Lord for vision. Like, God, what do you have for my family? What do you have for the next generation? Because I think a lot of people count themselves out, or they limit what can be because of where we are right now. So I think that's obviously really inspiring. People don't know that your dad came from a single parent home, and your mom came from a divorced home. And it's easy just to make these assumptions because they see, the Winans family, but to know where things started. And like you said, because they invited the Lord. And
at 17 and 19, they got married.
Very young age. And even how your dad decided to forgive his his biological father
Right.
and taking the name of Winans back, because a lot of
Right.
people don't know that you guys were Glenn's up until, was it right after you, or
Yeah.
when you were
No,
born?
I'm
You
the
were the
first
first.
Winans.
You were the first true Winans. But yeah, before you were born, they went by his mom's last name.
That's right.
And he decided to really forgive and honor his
Forgive
dad,
and
even
honor.
though his dad rejected him and denied that he was even his.
Right.
But him doing that, I think, just brought in a whole blessing.
All the blessings. When
to
you
you
make
guys'
that
family.
commitment that Lord, forgive me for the mistakes I made, and now I'm going to do it your way.
Yep.
There's just no limit what God is going to do for you and your children. And so on that note, I'm so excited about our guest,
Yes.
Judge Stephanie Williams.
Yes. So tell us about why you chose Judge Stephanie to be on our show
Well,
today.
first of all, I sang for her official service.
Okay.
A few weeks ago, and she wanted me to sing Believe for it. She's a member of Nashville Life Church, but I've been knowing Stephanie like over 20 years, 20 something years.
Wow.
And I met her through a lawyer named Richard Manson. She was like an assistant there,
Okay.
very quiet and reserved, and she was a single mother. And to see where she started and where she is now, when I saw them put that hat on her and
the robe.
And yeah,
Wow.
it was just an amazing thing to see. I was just like, oh my God, because she shared her challenges and her struggles, and so I asked her to come on because I just think her story is going to encourage so many single mothers
Yeah.
to not give up, to
Yeah.
not give in, and to understand that God will use your story for his glory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited. You guys don't want to go anywhere. Stay tuned for Judge Stephanie Williams as we talk about single motherhood.
Come, Jesus, come. We've been waiting so long for the day you return to heal every hurt and right every wrong. We need you right now. Come and turn this around. Deep down I know this world isn't home. Come, Jesus, come.
Welcome back to Generations. We are so excited about our episode today. Ashley, is going to be amazing. We are focusing on single motherhood. And we have this incredible guest who I've been knowing for many, many years, Judge Stephanie Williams. How are
Welcome.
you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Thanks
I'm
for
excited
being
to be here.
We're
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. I mean, it's been a long time, Steph.
It's been a long time, 20 plus years easily.
Yeah, easily.
Yes.
And you look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Trying to keep up with you.
Ah, look at you. Look
Aren't we
at
all?
you. God is so good. I think this is such an important show because a large part of our demographic is single mothers.
Yeah, a lot of single
And I
mothers.
think it's a group that kind of sometimes get overlooked.
Yes.
And Stephanie, I'm so glad that you decided to join us today because I've been able to, not that we saw each other all the time, but it's been so many years and to see where you were.
Yes.
And even when I met you, you were working in a lawyer's office.
I was.
And but then to know where you are today, which I was able to be a part of that incredible ceremony, as you became official.
Yes. The official
Judge
judge.
Stephanie Williams. It was so awesome. Oh my goodness, and to see your mother there. And so just tell us, let's just start out by you just telling us a little bit about yourself, your story.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky, but I call Nashville home. I've lived here for over 35 years.
Wow.
My mother's job relocated us here when I was in high school, my freshman year of high school. And so I went to McGavock High School. And then as luck would have it, my senior year of high school, she got relocated to Memphis.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was kind of not a good thing for me.
Oh man.
My senior year, I had plans of being, the queen of the homecoming court and all that.
She interrupted everything.
So we moved to Memphis that senior year, and I went to Germantown High School. But I came back to Nashville because my friends were here, and I got a scholarship to go to Fisk.
Nice.
Oh,
And so
okay.
I was, very much on a traditional track of, graduating from high school, going straight to college. I knew what I wanted to do. I was majoring in math, but I knew I wanted to be in the business corporate world kind of thing. And then, things changed. And so my sophomore year at Fisk, I had to step away from my education because I had my son.
Okay.
And within 18 months, I had my daughter.
Wow.
As a single mother. And so schooling was no longer an option for me. I had to work. I had to work several jobs, and that was, kind of my life at that point. And so,
And how did that make you feel? Did you feel like, because of the change, were you discouraged? Or you just felt like, hey, this is what I got to do now?
I think it's just, you think this is what I have to do now. I don't think I had time enough to think about much other than the fact I needed to provide for myself and my children.
Okay.
But I was fortunate enough to land a job a few years into the single motherhood track with attorney Richard Manson here in Nashville.
Yes.
And that's where we
A
met.
dear
because-
friend.
Yes,
Attorney
love
Richard
Richard.
Manson.
Yes.
Nobody like him. He's amazing.
And so he was working with you, and we also worked with Bobby Jones and the entertainment company. And he just kind of said out of the blue one day, he's like, "You should go to law school."
Aww.
And I was like, "That's real cute,
Sounds nice.
But you've seen these little kids I have,
Right.
and this is my second job, and he said you can do it. He said figure out a way. He said you can get a degree in anything. It can be home economics, and then go to law school. And that just helps me realize now the power of words, because something so small. Just that little seed he planted gave me enough for me to at least look at what my options were.
So he saw something in you that you had.
He saw something in me that I just never thought or imagined possible.
That's amazing.
And so I started exploring options. And Trevecca had a program where I could go to school at night, one night a week, and earn my bachelor's degree.
Wow.
And so I did that, continued to work for Mr. Manson, and was able to get my bachelor's degree from Trevecca. And within 2 months of that, I was in law school at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville.
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
and it took me having the bigger goal of going to law school to get me through the journey of the undergrad.
Right.
Because I knew I got to get this step to get to this step.
Yeah.
And so that was the focus, and that's what I did. My children were still young when I went to law school. And my support system, which was actually at the time their father's family, was hugely important in the support of me and my children. But they were here. I had nothing in Knoxville. And so I just made the commitment to commute from Nashville to Knoxville for 2.5 years to go to school. So I could get my law degree and not disrupt the stability for my children.
And how long of a drive is that?
It's about 2.5 hours each way.
So how often you did that? How often did you drive back and forth?
3 days a week.
Oh
on
my
average.
gosh, from Nashville to Knoxville.
And again, when you're doing it, you don't think about it. It's
Yeah.
like you get up and go to work. It's like you're getting up. This is what I got to do.
This is what
today.
is necessary.
I got to go to school. I got to go to class. So I worked at a hotel in the evenings because I knew I could go to school during the day. I looked for a job that was a job after traditional hours, and did that, and then still did some work for Mr. Manson.
So you're working 2 jobs
and going
to
to
school and commuting.
That's correct.
And being a mom. Did you sleep?
And being a
ever?
mom,
Did you get any
that's the
sleep?
biggest
How
word.
long?
That might be why I sleep so much now. Now that you raise that point.
You deserve to get caught up on all the sleep.
I
Because
love
it's
the
like,
sleep.
is there enough time in the day to even do all of that? I'm amazed.
Well, I was really blessed in the fact that I knew all I needed to do was graduate from law school, so I didn't have to worry about being competitive grade-wise, which can be very important for a lot of law school students because they're concerned about getting jobs when they graduate. and Mr. Manson had my back. I just needed to graduate.
Just get that degree.
So that relieved some pressure from me.
Good.
But definitely still had to commit to doing the work and getting through it all.
So how many years was it from? Because you got some of your degree, I guess, started college credits at Fisk.
I did.
So then when you started at Trevecca, how long did it take you before you got your bachelor's degree?
It was about 18 months.
Okay, so that's not bad. And then law school took how many years?
2.5 years. So it's normally a 3-year journey, but I did it in 2.5 because I did summer school classes and stuff like that.
You're on the fast track.
I didn't know how long my car was going to hold up.
Yeah, that's a lot of miles on the car. Oh my god.
So I was like, let me do this. Let's get this out of the way.
Oh wow.
So yes.
So how important is it as a single mom to have a support system?
You have to have a support system. And what is important to understand is your support system may not look like your immediate blood family.
Right.
Okay.
For me, I didn't have blood family in Nashville. And like as I said, we moved here when I was in high school, but my mother's job subsequently transferred her other places. And so I did not have that here. But I did have the support of my children's father's family, which, without them and the help that they gave to helping me with the children, and they even would help me with buying books or getting money for school and stuff like that. I mean, they were they must have seen something too.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And they were very supportive of me. And I think they knew what I now realize, if you're helping the mother, you ultimately help the children because you're changing the trajectory of their lives.
Absolutely.
That's so good.
And so they believed that, by supporting me, that was going to spill over to my children.
That's awesome.
And so they were very helpful in doing that. So yeah.
That is awesome. What are some of the challenges that you faced in single motherhood and also... And understanding that once Mr. Manson really sowed a seed that made you think, that changed your way of thinking,
that's
really,
right.
about yourself and what could actually be. What were some of the challenges in between that? You accepting that, saying, I'm going to go for it, but understanding still I'm a single mom. Yeah.
The biggest challenges for me were always financial. There was just never enough. And, I'd have to make decisions about what was going to get paid, what wasn't going to get paid. If we didn't have hot water, at least the stove was on, I could boil the water for the baths, and things like that. So it was just financial was the biggest struggle. I mean, there were times I could not maintain my commitment with landlords and I'd have to look for another opportunity or somewhere to be so we could have stability or somewhere to live. And so that was the biggest that was the biggest hurdle. That was truly the biggest hurdle.
So what would you tell somebody who's watching, because I'm sure that's a big hurdle for most. How would you encourage them in that?
Two things. One thing that I was never good at was telling people I needed help. And so I would do everything I could on my own until it was just so bad that it was okay. But the other thing is there are so many opportunities and nonprofits and organizations set up to assist people more now than then. And now with, all the resources we have to research things, you can find more opportunities. But to seek out those opportunities, because there are a lot of resources in our community. And I really think I could have done better even if I had utilized resources available to me through the government, even if it was assistance with food or housing.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, there was a stigma about that I thought, no, I just have to do this the hard way.
Right.
But those are there in place to help people not stay in that position, but get them to the next place.
Yeah.
And if I had done that, I would have avoided a lot of my financial pitfalls.
So,
I really do
so
believe
be
that.
willing to ask for help and to
Seek it out.
Yeah,
And seek
that's
out
awesome.
resources. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So at what point in your career, I guess kind of fast forward from you finished law school, how long did it take to where you felt like I'm able to really sustain my family on my own? When was kind of that breakthrough point of it's never enough, I'm barely making ends meet, to, okay, I feel like I've got a handle on this?
So after graduating law school, I worked in Richard Manson's office for a little while, and I also started an organization called the Family Justice Center, where we helped represent people at reduced cost in family law matters, because it's one of those areas of law where so many people actually need the benefit of the court system, but they don't have the tens of thousands of dollars it takes to have an attorney help them. And so I did that, and then eventually just kind of transitioned into my own private practice.
Okay.
And through that, I became definitely more financially stable. But as an entrepreneur, there are seasons. Like, it's so funny to me because people would say, oh, it's Christmas. Can I pay you next month? I got to buy gifts. And I'm thinking, well, it's Christmas for me too.
My kids want presents just like
we want food and presents at my house. And so even that, while it was definitely more lucrative for me, it was not as consistent.
Sure.
So I stabilized when I actually started working in the courts under the late Judge Philip Smith as his special master of the Fourth Circuit Court, which is a family court. And so that was the job that gave me a great income, wonderful benefits, and just that consistency. That was really, really helpful to really kind of get me to that place.
That's awesome.
I want to commend you for even even before you were in a place where you're like, oh, I'm set. You started an organization to help people that were in a tough spot. And I think sometimes people don't feel like they're in a position to do that. So I think that's really awesome that you did that. I just kind of want to honor you for thinking forward that way. Because I'm sure you knew I'm not going to always be in this place. I'm going to get to that point where, Christmas is set, whether somebody wants to pay me or not. But I think just even having the heart to realize I'm not the only one in need. There's other people out here that need help too. And that you took the initiative to do that is really awesome.
Yeah, I do think that's awesome. I think it's a principle we need to pull out for single mothers. Even when you find yourself in need, it's a principle in the Word of God to keep sowing. Think of somebody else, because when you sow, God's going to bless you.
Absolutely.
But and also I think it kind of uplifts you too. Whenever you're generous and you take out time and you realize, even though your situation might be bad, there are people who are dealing with worse. So that's pretty awesome. Tell me this: how important your relationship with God during this journey? How important was that?
It was huge, and I don't think I fully understood it. It did not all manifest for me in such a way until I went through this journey to judge, is what I call it.
Journey to judge, okay.
And so I was in my role as special master for nearly 9 years. So I was like the little judge under the big judge, is what I call it, to simplify it for people. And I supported the elected judge in a lot of different ways in the court. And he was also another great mentor. He had an eye of me being his successor. And so he was very intentional about putting me in position and in places to begin building support and a base and to give me the skills I needed to do the job. So when he passed very unexpectedly in September 2022, literally in his sleep overnight, and nobody expected it. It became that thing of, is this the time for me to do this? I was scared because, as I said, I had the qualifications. I knew that.
Sure.
There wasn't anybody that was really going to have my resume from that standpoint. But I had, a history that came from, financial challenges and otherwise that I knew would be brought into the mix of things that could be damaging to me and be looked upon negatively. And I remember sitting in my office because a new judge got appointed for the position. I was not appointed. Somebody else got appointed to be the judge until an election.
Got it.
And the new judge told me, please, you can stay with me. I'd love to have you and keep you. And as I said, that was the most financially stable part of my life, right? So I'm struggling with this. If I run out here and run for judge, anything could happen,
right?
But I had a plaque on a shelf that one of my mother's friends had given me when I started the job that had Isaiah 40:31 on it. And I looked up and I saw it. It says, those who wait on the Lord shall mount up on wings like eagles and shall run and not be weary. And I thought, I need to run.
Yeah.
If I don't do it now, I'll never do it. And I felt like God was speaking to me in that moment. Throughout the whole journey, which was about 18 months, everything that happened, and just my past being brought up, all of those things worked to my benefit.
Really?
So even
all
though
worked for your
it
good.
all worked for the good. So it was like, I knew that although I had taken a road that may have not been what God would have wanted for me, or even my family, my mother,
Sure.
it all came together, and it made me this unstoppable candidate that was the perfect person for the role.
Wow.
And nobody else had it.
Wow.
There was 4 of us in the race. Nobody else had it.
Yeah.
And it became a power, it became a strength.
That's
Wow.
so cool.
And I said, this shows people who God is. And so that's why I was so intentional about my investiture ceremony, being so focused on God and who God is and what He will do.
Right.
Because that let me know He was always there with me. And when the time came, everything was going to come full circle for me.
Wow.
And that's exactly what happened.
Tell us about some of those experiences
That's
which
amazing.
that you had to walk through, that now you have an understanding as a judge working with family court, going through custody battles and things like that. Kind of tell us a little bit more about how those experiences equipped you for this position now.
Well, I think most of all, it makes me relatable.
Yeah.
One of my biggest things I would say is judging without judgment. And when you understand that
that's
the people
good.
standing in front of you were you at one point,
Yeah.
could have been you,
Absolutely.
then you deal with them in a way that shows some compassion.
Yeah.
And you think about how you give them hope and inspiration in the process.
Right.
Instead of being transactional with them, or instead of, beating up on them, saying things to make them think they're less than. They didn't come to court for that.
Right. No. Right.
And if we're talking about strengthening and building families, we should be strengthening and building the litigants and the moms and the dads that are coming in front of us in a way that they can see some hope in their future. Because a lot of times, for example, in my court, we do a lot of divorces. People are afraid. They don't know what their life is going to look like. They've been used to this, intact family. And so now it's like the resources are going to be different. The children's schedules are going to be different. How are these going to, and there's just a lot of fear. And so what I try to help people understand is, there will be some differences, but let's get a strong foundation for you individually and collectively as co-parents so that you can move on and have a brighter future for yourself and your children and have more long-lasting outcomes. And so definitely my experience is what resonated with people. People start telling me, you need to tell your story. I remember I met this lady and she was like, well, why should I vote for you? And I started going through, I've done, I had my family justice center and I was a special master. She's like, that's boring. And I was like, and that hurt me to the core, right? I was like, oh my gosh. But I had to become vulnerable. And I had to put it out there. But I began to realize that it was all a testimony, for God and who God is and who He's been in my life. And the more I began to do that, the bigger my circle just became and my support became.
That's like the stuff you were proud of didn't interest them. It was the things that you weren't so proud of.
That's exactly what the things that brought me, like shame and guilt. What I felt like was shame and guilt. That's what resonated with people. That's what people needed to know about me.
Great. So there's power in your story.
Share your testimony.
Share your testimony. It's amazing what God can do when we just give it to Him. You know what I'm saying? No matter what mistakes, He's excellent in turning our mistakes into miracles.
Yes, that's right. That's what He did.
So one topic we kind of want to go into, as a single mother in your career journey, how did you approach dating? Or was that just so not even anywhere on your radar? Because I think, again, a lot of single moms who are wanting to, get in a relationship and be married and things like that, How did you juggle that? Or was that just like, I'm too busy, I didn't even think about dating?
No, I'm too busy now to think about dating.
Okay.
I should have been too busy then to think about it.
But you were thinking about it.
But I was young. I was thinking about it, and I was
absolutely.
dating, and I probably didn't put the thought into it I should have.
Right.
You know,
What? Go ahead. She said,
She's like,
what wisdom would you give them?
That's where I was going with it.
Yeah.
There you go.
And now that you've walked through it, you know what I'm saying? Is that something that
yeah, what would you do differently?
changes your focus? Is it a distraction? Is it not good for the kids? It's so many different ways you can look at it.
There are
And I'm
so
sure
many ways.
you've experienced.
I think it can definitely be helpful with the right situation and the right person. But anyone who is going to distract from you and your children,
Okay.
who feels like they need more time and attention for themselves than you're able to give them over your children, or that wants to be in competition with your children. For anybody that feels like, they don't want to see you grow and, get to that next level, like that's what you need to let go of. That's what you need to have them keep on moving. But for anybody who shows a vested interest in who you are as a person, who wants to continue to see you grow, and who wants to have a relationship with your children and help you with your children, can be very impactful.
That's awesome.
So look for.
I think that point is really good when you said people who want to see you grow, and I think that's anybody relationship. It's important to know that you have somebody who wants the best for you, and don't want you to be in a place where you're needy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that they can feel like they're doing something. It's so important to understand that to have somebody. Any relationship, ladies, to have somebody who really has your best interests at heart is crucial.
Yes. And if you ever feel like you're in a competition between your children and that person, then you're that's the wrong person.
Got it.
Absolutely.
Got it.
You cannot do that.
Well, tell me this. When did you get to the point where you said, Stephanie, you're doing pretty good?
Maybe last week in my office.
Yeah, like today, yesterday.
When did you sit back and say, whoa? Because it's got to hit you. Maybe it hits you in the middle. I don't know. Because you're so busy working it, and doing, like you said, you don't have time to think about it was 2-hour drive or commute. I got to do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? And you're kind of in that mode. But
survival mode.
The survival mode. Yeah. And when have you gotten to the point where you just said, wow?
When I won the race, so you
won the race by far.
We did well. So there were 4 people in the race, and it was there's a primary race and then a general race. But all the candidates were in the primary race as Democrats, so it's 4 of us. And it was a very humbling outcome because there were 3 women, 2 of us were African American, and then we had the appointed judge who was a Caucasian male. And so from somebody just kind of on the outside looking in, they would think, oh, these women are going to cancel themselves out and all this stuff. But our win was undeniable. We won by 67% of the votes. So I had 25,000 votes.
That's
and
awesome.
then the next person behind me was like 4 or 5. I don't know. It was wasn't much, 4 or 5.
Wow.
So it was,
that's amazing.
it was very humbling. And that's when I was like, wow, like, people voted for me.
Yeah.
Where did they all come from?
Yeah, who are these people?
But I was exhausted from having run this campaign for 18 months. And so literally I've been in the role for 2 weeks now. And last week I thought I've never been happier. I was sitting in my office just doing my work. I'm like, this is my job. And like, I'm having fun. I love it. But I also felt good because I knew what I was doing.
Right.
And I've been able to, fulfill the things I said I would do when I was meeting with people and telling people what I believed about our family court systems and some changes we can make. And I've been able to implement some of those and see how that's, been very well received. And so I think I'm at a place, but God's not going to keep me still for long.
Right.
No.
There's always more.
There's always something more.
But you're seeing the fruit of your hard
totally
work, and
seeing
reward
the
is
fruit
paying
and
off.
how everything just works,
That's so good.
That's great. That's great. You want to answer this next question?
You
I
go
think
for
it's
it.
so great. So tell me, what do your children say? What have they said seeing you through this journey and where you are now?
Well, my daughter says she's not going to call me judge.
Judge mom.
She's going to keep you humble.
Yes. So my children are 30 and 28. My son is 30 years old.
Unbelievable.
Grown
She's
children
looking
now.
like she's
Grown,
30.
fully grown.
The whole
And-
team is in shock. That you have kids
And my
that
son has two daughters. So I have two granddaughters. One who's 5.5, Ella, and then another one, August, who's 11 months old.
but they don't call you grandma.
No,
Yeah, tell us your grandmother name.
I'm Beyonce.
Okay,
Did you
did you pick that name or did somebody else pick that
I
name?
picked that name.
Very
And so
appropriate.
it's funny. So when my 5.5-year-old granddaughter, like, she doesn't know any different, right?
Right.
And so we'll be anywhere, and she'll say, "Well, Beyonce," and people will say, "What did she call you?"
My Beyonce here. That is so cute.
But I think she's so more proud than anything because
Really?
even when we went out to dinner the other day, and she always loves to say the blessing, and she's, "Lord, thank you for my Beyonce and being a judge, and she's just a beautiful judge, and she's gonna help people, and
so sweet.
So she's just so proud and she's so
that's
precious.
sweet.
That's the best.
But no, my kids, I think that it's great for them to see. My daughter went to law school.
Oh,
So she's a lawyer.
Come on.
She went to law
Following in
school,
your
and
footsteps.
and I don't think she could have had that thought process or that
If she hadn't
inspiration
seen
if it
you.
hadn't been me. And she
Yeah.
got to take a different journey. She went
Yeah.
through school with no student loans. She didn't have to worry about
amazing.
anything, and so she's in LA working in the entertainment industry.
Wow.
And so I think they
Cool.
I think they still just see me though as their
Your
mom.
mom.
Yeah,
Mom,
I was
of
gonna
course.
say it's almost like in a way that's all they knew.
That's all-
So
yeah.
but I think it definitely, I'm sure, sticks with them seeing the work that you put in.
Yeah.
I think if anything, that's instilled in them like hard work ethic and how and how anything's possible, because I'm sure there are a million reasons why you were working in this office and thinking like, there's no way I could ever be a judge. Like, I'm sure it was just getting to law school was
Right.
already like probably a big thought.
That's right.
But then to see where you are now, it's just, I think that, because it's not just about the moms, the kids are kind of having to bear that weight
That's
too.
exactly right.
And even
That's
though I'm
exactly
sure
right.
you did a great job of, presenting a strong front and not letting them know, hey, we're struggling. Like,
That's right.
we gotta, figure some things out. I'm sure you really kept it together because you just seem like the type to do that anyway. But yeah, sometimes you don't always think about how the children are affected in, a single parent home.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure seeing where you are now has got to be really inspiring for them.
Has to be. Okay, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back and talk to Judge Stephanie Williams a little bit more. So stay tuned.
Wonderful and beautiful and glorious and holy, He is merciful and powerful. Who we talking about? That's my King. We declare the glory, give Him all the honor, altogether worthy. Who we talking about? That's my King. There's no one before you. Yes, we will adore you. All of this is for you. Who we talking about? That's my King. Jesus, you're my King. Yeah.
Welcome back to the show. Here on Generations, we have Judge Stephanie Williams, and we're talking about all things single motherhood. And I just wanted to ask, going through your journey of how you got to where you are, tell us about what you see day to day as a judge working in this family court system, and what memories does that bring back to you and what you walked through to get to this point?
Absolutely. So my passion from family law originated from my own lawsuit in the family courts. And so shortly after I graduated from law school, I initiated a child support action to receive child support in the family courts. And that turned into like a year plus long litigation that involved everything, custody and even parentage testing and the support and all of that. And so that's when I realized that a lot of people are thrust into that position, but they don't have resources for people to represent them. And so that is where my commitment came to start to representing people at reduced rates. So I remember that when I'm sitting on the bench and I'm looking at cases and reviewing cases, and I see litigants coming in front of me. I understand that they need two things. One I spoke of, they need a little hope and inspiration. But some of them, they don't know what their strengths are. They don't know. I see something in them they don't see in themselves yet, like Richard Manson saw in me and others. And so sometimes I have to be a little tough love with them, you know, and let them know, because some people will come into court and say, oh, well, I haven't worked in, 10 years or, and they're not understanding how to get back into the routine of being self-sufficient. I'm a huge believer in self-sufficiency.
Clearly.
Exactly. No excuses.
And so, and sometimes you have to be a little firm with people and help them understand opportunities are available. They may not look like what you think you should have now. But you have a responsibility to take care of children that are unable to take care of themselves. And so you're going to have to, get some things together. I'm very intentional about being involved in the community and being aware of organizations in the community that support our families on a myriad of different levels, so that I can then share with people. And that's one of the bigger transitions I want to make about our court, is being a little bit more of a resource center to some degree. I can share with people, like, here's a place you can go. This is an organization where they have a single mom support group. They can be helpful to you. And they also provide rent assistance, so they do this and that. And so really being able to help people see a way.
That's good.
And know that they can do better. And so I think there's a balance of the compassion and inspiration with some tough love. And so some people might, confuse the two at times. But but that is definitely what I really see more than anything, is that somebody that's standing in front of me that does not know their own strength and their own power. And may not, realize how important it is for them to do things for the betterment of their children. So as a grandmother now, that's the first time I probably said that. As a Beyonce, I can see things differently than I could as a single mother in the thick of trying to survive. And I can see how kids are impacted by all of our decisions and all of our actions that I did not see when I was in the middle of single motherhood. And so I do try to impart some of that wisdom. On others in a way that they can receive it, that doesn't feel like I'm condemning them or judging them in any manner, but I'm trying to help them understand, like, this is what I know. I've been through this. And so and I can see how things impact our children. And so
your own pain turned into what is now your passion.
It definitely did. It definitely turned into my passion. And I think that passion comes from what we personally experience.
That's right.
For sure.
You cannot give somebody passion for something they have no idea about.
That's good.
And so that is where it comes from.
That's good.
Absolutely.
That's good. Okay. So single motherhood, your kids, they were, of course, little. Now they're grown adults. And tell me, how important is it for single mothers to be content, but yet have space to grow in relationships, in their career? Are you like, hey, I'm done with relationships? Or are you open to having relationships? Are you open to love?
I'm open to love.
Yes.
Why wouldn't I? And now I know more what love should look like.
There you go.
I spoke at a prayer breakfast on Saturday, and the men were serving the women breakfast. They cooked breakfast, and they were serving the women breakfast. And I said, this is what love looks like. I need to add this to my list of men who will cook breakfast for me and serve it to me.
works. I love it. I love it. You saw love in action.
I saw love in action. But I will tell you, it's very hard to do when you're single parenting. But do be content in enjoying the moment, no matter what it is. The kids grow up so fast.
Yeah.
And, you know, they become fleeting memories. You forget little things that really, you know, can make you smile later in life.
Right.
And so definitely take the time to slow down enough to enjoy that season and that moment, regardless of what it's bringing for you. Because it will help build and grow you. And like I said, you'll come back and see how it was all working towards a bigger plan. But you definitely have to be thoughtful about not staying in one place. You continue to grow. And I would say never give up hope on love. I mean, there's plenty of it to go around, you know. But to be content with, you know, if it comes, that'll be great.
Right.
But not so much so that you are just gravitating towards anything.
Yeah.
Right. Because if something is bad for you, it's going to be bad for your children.
Absolutely.
Got it.
And so that just has a spiral down effect for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so give us 3 tips. Give single mothers 3 tips of wisdom that you feel will make a difference in their lives.
I would say being in church and having the children in church. I did not do that enough. But I see what that does for families and what it does for children.
Awesome.
So that to me is number one. Being thoughtful about, like I said, just spending the time with your children, being present for your children. Being present. Because they've got a lot going on in their lives. And so it's very easy to get into a routine where you're coming home from work and you're just trying to get dinner on the table and they're doing homework and your mind is all kinds of different places. And with phones and social media and stuff now, it's really distracting.
Yeah.
But just taking that time to be present and to have a routine. Children need routine.
Yep.
Okay.
They need to know what to expect and they appreciate routine. And so kind of be present and have a routine and just forgive yourself for anything that you feel like brings you shame or guilt. Let it go. Forgive yourself. Love yourself. And just know that it will be a part of your story, which will be hugely powerful and impactful to at least one person.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good because God forgives us.
Absolutely.
So you got to forgive yourself, you know, and know that there's so much more in store. You're not disqualified, you know, and I love that. I mean, it's just amazing to see, hearing your story, but knowing that God works that way. Like you said, you have a journey, and in the midst of the journey, it's like, oh, how am I gonna make it? But it's not just about you. It's so many people you're gonna bless. That's why I never give up, never give in, because God sees you, He knows, He cares, and He has a plan for your life. You know, He hasn't forgotten you. You're not forgotten, and He hasn't changed His mind about you. So just be encouraged. I think single mothers are just amazing people because it's not easy when you have both parents in the house, and there's so many women. I mean, oh my God, without the moms and without the moms, period, but without the single moms, I don't know. I just don't know. So many children would be so lost and messed up. So just know that what you're doing is amazing. That is your ministry. That is a great ministry to have. You know, and to see what you've gone through, what you've achieved, but now how you're using everything to be a blessing to somebody else. Thank you again, Stephanie, for coming. I am just so honored to have you here. Ashley, we've never had a judge sit at the Generations table.
Judge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracing us with your presence.
This has been fun.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just amazing to see your life and what God has done in you and through you. And Ashley, again, I've known her for over 20 years, and I had no idea all of this was in her because she was always so quiet, always working, you know, hello, but man. And then she tells me, I'm running for judge. I want to make sure you guys vote for me. And I'm like, what? I'm still in shock about that. But yeah, so I'm honored to have you here, and wow.
Thank you.
I know it's just.
I'm honored to be here.
I know that God still has so much more, but would you just pray us out? Would you pray for the single mothers who are watching?
I will absolutely do that.
Okay.
I will absolutely do that. Father God, we come to you in prayer today specifically for single mothers, Lord. We know there is someone out there that needs a little bit of encouragement, that needs to know that her circumstances are not who she is, Lord. She is who you have created her to be, Lord. And that she just needs to understand that you have a plan for her, Lord. You have a plan for her children. You have a plan for her family, Lord. Yes, Lord. And I just ask, Lord, that you pour into her, that you speak to her, Lord, that you put the right people around her to guide her and to inspire her, Lord. And that you protect her and her children as they go on their journeys each and every day, Lord. And I just ask for your blessings, Lord. I ask that you bless those people that are in and around her lives, Lord. And I ask that, Lord, you help her understand that even where she is in her journey right now, she is a blessing to someone else. And that she share that, Lord, that she share her journey with someone, that she shares what she has overcome, the obstacles that she has overcome, the victories she has won, Lord, so that she may also be an inspiration to someone else, Lord, because we know that you will use our stories, Lord, to bless others and to serve your purpose, Lord. And to glorify you. And we do want people to know, Lord, that if they just trust and believe in you, if they come to you, Lord, that you are the creator of it all. You know what you have planned, and that will manifest in their lives, Lord. So I just ask, Lord, that you pour into our single mothers, you pour into their children each and every day. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Stephanie.
Amen.
We so appreciate you.
Thank you.
You guys be blessed. And again, thanks for watching us. And Ashley?
We'll see you next time. Remember to like and subscribe. Don't forget. Bye.
Bye.
Next time on Generations.
If this was a disease in America, it would be worthy of a national emergency.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I'm really wondering what this got to do with me.
Right.
Because
He gives me a whole paragraph. And one of the main themes is, I'm going to move in this dark place in the lives of those no one has answers for.
Welcome to the official page of CeCe Winans. You can catch up on past seasons of Generations right here on YouTube. Every single episode is available to watch right now on demand.
Back by popular demand.
Angie, you've making a mess already. Your paper's going
here with one.
This show is thriving after broken relationships. And I'm here with Ashley and my dear friend, Nicole C.
So tune in, turn it up, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Come, Jesus, come. We've been waiting so long for the day you return to heal every hurt and right every wrong. We need you right now. Come and turn this around. Deep down I know this world isn't home. Come, Jesus, come.